So are there any better hard money outfits than others, right? Because to your point, where some people may feel like that's big brother, right, looking over their shoulder, some people may welcome that on their first couple of deals to say, wow, I'm not the person who has to figure out if this was done correctly and get the money and have to have it redone, right? Yeah. So any ones that are better than others that you'll share with the viewers?
You know, hard money lenders is, again, it's like another one of these things that's like, it's unregulated,
yeah,
right? They make their own rules,
right?
You know how the saying goes, like whoever has the money, you know, makes the rules. Yeah, there are some that are better than others, but you know, they all loan money at high rates. You know, they're all, I mean, they're bankers at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So their main goal is to mitigate their risk, and they're not really concerned about your risk. They're only concerned about their risk.
Because they're concerned about their risk, naturally it flows to you even though they weren't thinking about it. For example, if you present a property to them and it doesn't pencil out, they're going to say, here's why we're not willing to fund it at that price, which could potentially keep you from getting into a bad deal? Or do you find that maybe they're just overly cautious or conservative and therefore they may keep you from doing a good deal?
Absolutely, and that is definitely the case sometimes, right? Because, you know, they can't do every deal, right? So they're very selective on deals that they pick and choose.
Right.
So just because they said that they don't want to do your deal doesn't necessarily mean that your deal is not a good deal.
Okay.
Maybe they don't like the neighborhood. Maybe they, you know, don't like the house next door. You know, maybe they feel the comps aren't strong enough. There are a lot of different scenarios. I mean, I've had many properties where I've used one lender, for whatever reason they didn't want to do it. You know, maybe like some title clearing need to be done to it. The lender wasn't comfortable with that.
Yeah.
So I would use a different lender. So it's a number of different reasons why a lender would not want to do your deal.
So what should, in markets change, right? But so presently, what should people be looking at right now to say, a lender who loans you this amount of the deal and this amount of the renovation cost is good at this, around this rate, right? What would you say is the going rate and the going percentage that they would lend you?
You know, today, obviously we're in a rising rate environment,
right, yeah.
But with hard money, you could find hard money today, you know, anywhere between 11 and 15%. You know, 11% would be, you know, that would be the rate they would quote you over the phone to get you to fill out an application, and they'll come up with some reasoning. Right. You know, they'll
closing. You have to pay some nefarious closing fee that you didn't even know existed, right? Or,
well, I mean, aside from that, but just the rate. You know, I mean, you know, like today, a lot of lenders, they're saying, well, we'll loan you 7% plus prime.
Right.
Right, because rates are increasing, so they don't want to get stuck with a fixed rate. So if the Fed continues to raise rates, you know, they'll raise your rate.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But you know, I'd say anywhere between 11 and 15% right now.
And over what period of time would you normally get one? Would you build in, like you said, this remodel may take you 6 months, so would you do it exactly at 6 months? Get the money for a 12-month commitment, 18-month commitment. You also said you might rent it, so does that change?
Yeah. So the thing with hard money is speed.
Yeah.
Right. You want to get in and out of that money as quick as you can. Yeah. Because like the longer you stand that money, is like it's just gonna erode your profit margins.
Yeah.
Right. So you know, the idea is to get in, get the job done, and do whatever you're gonna do. If you're gonna sell it, sell it. If you're gonna keep it, refinance it. Refinance the hard money, and you know, now you have a big, you know, loan at prime rate.
Exactly. So let's take this one as a scenario. So let's say you keep the hard money for 6 months. Do you then have to get a tenant first in order to refinance out of that hard money, or do they have to be in there for 3 months, 6 months, a year? How do the lenders look at that transition, and is it the same lender?
Every situation is different, right? All lenders have different criteria in terms of their lending.
Maybe the more favorable scenario.
Yeah, you know, the average lender is going to look for, if you're going to refinance the property, they're going to want to see a tenant in it. They're going to want to see it leased. They're going to want to see the lease, so on and so forth. But there are other lenders that's not necessary. They just want the property to be renovated
and ready for a tenant.
The property to have appreciated through you know, added value.
Gotcha.
Okay, then they'll make you a 30-year loan. In our case, we're gonna essentially refinance it out.
Okay.
You know, like immediately.
Gotcha.
Like, you know, probably within the next 30 days.
Really?
Yeah.
So how can you do that if it's not fully renovated? Are you just saying, hey, we did this much and this much raises the repair value to this?
So this scenario is a little different because we're
But this is why you're real estate profiting. Right?
Exactly,
All right.
exactly. Yeah. So, you know, as the young folks say, like, this is some sauce right here.
Right.
So basically, you know, we're essentially putting a line of credit in place.
Okay.
And you know, it should be fully in place within the next 30 days, and then we'll just refinance out and use the line of credit to finish the house, and then whatever we're going to do with it, if we're going to hold it, you know, and then do the same, you know, use the same line of credit to build a new house right here.
Got you. So the line of credit comes from this actual property being collateralized?
Absolutely.
Okay, got you. All right, so you go to the bank, and normally banks won't finance, you know, a home that's not ready to be sold, right? At least is my understanding.
Right.
So when you go to them for a line of credit, why would they be okay giving you a line of credit when it's not fully renovated at that point?
It would be collateral,
Okay.
but the line of credit would not necessarily be collateralized by the house.
Gotcha.
By the house. You follow what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah. The line of credit is based on other collateral
I see what you're
outside the property.
Okay.
But you know, since this property will now become financed, you know, through the line, you know, it will go into the collateralized basis for the line.
I get it. One mechanic question about that, right? Like how it works. So let's say it's the investor that gets the line of credit, right? Who partnered with you. And because they may share in the proceeds, do you now pay them the interest that you're paying the hard money lender? Or is it, no, that's your additional contribution to the deal is that you brought this to the table?
And again, it's all negotiable at the end of the day, to be very honest.
Sure.
You know, and in our scenario, you know, it's just a part of the contribution.
Got you.